is tradition. If I sleep in, news happens. So you're all welcome for me causing this to occur. Let's watch the update 1.4 highlights with a very, very special teaser at the end. I have not watched this yet. It's a lagoon. Okay, so we know about the elasma already. This is the first hint we had that this, well, it's not even a hint. This is the first time we know that this is a full, like a big update, not a small update. Okay, that's good. Glass wall. Okay. Interesting. Does it? Okay. We gotta pause. We gotta pause. We gotta talk about this. This probably is cosmetic only, right? This is probably not gonna give you like path visibility, but goddamn should it. Path visibility is needed so strongly in this game. We really need the capability for guests to detect dinosaurs from the path somehow, be it through a mechanic with glass windows that allow dinosaurs to be seen that way, or by just making paths have an inherent visibility arc, which is doable. Somebody made a mod in JWE2 that added new paths that had a viewing radius. If a modder could do it in JWE2, they can do it as an official feature in 3 easily. And it's needed. Like, custom building makes zoo-like exhibits where you see the dinosaurs with your own eyeballs instead of through a building better. It makes them better than just using a simple viewing exhibit. It's a lot, like, this is something that's come out of especially the park tours I've done of touring other people's parks in first person mode. Viewing a park that way is so much better than like looking at an exhibit through a fixed gallery, and the game will be stronger for it if they just add viewing to paths. I suspect this is not that. I suspect this is simply a new clear wall type, and that's all it's going to be. But we can hope. New Square Sandbox map Hawaii. Okay, this makes sense. Okay. The thing you're probably asking there, why are we getting a new square tropical map? And the reason we're getting a new square tropical map, let's go back a second, is you can see that this tropical map actually looks tropical. The existing square tropical map in Sandbox is it the Azores, which actually doesn't use the traditional tropical brush. It has like regular trees. Jesus, talk about my the freaking North American bias. Jesus, it has uh like temperate trees. It's like kind of a the Azores is kind of like a mix. I think it's the Azores map. I'm not actually sure. I should have fact checked this. It's kind of like a mixed tropical temperate map in a sense, right? Um, I think what it is it's defaulted to like deciduous like temperate trees, but you can use the jungle brushes. I don't know. Point is, it doesn't look the way people like, and people have been complaining that there isn't a proper jungly map. It's somewhat weird to me that there aren't just square versions of every map because presumably they have different backdrops, right? Like obviously when you have a square map, it's the same as every other square map in Dimensions. It's just a matter of what the default terrain and the brushes are. But the backdrop still matters. And I think there could be an argument for some of these different, backdrops here to be included for different maps. It's not that important. It's good that they're doing this. It's great. New sandbox settings. Disable trait aggression. Okay. So that basically giving us the toggle to not spawn aggression on our dinosaurs when we're hatching. Honestly, aggression is with the introduction of juveniles, the aggression trait is pretty annoying. I could see turning this on in park builds and just playing without aggression. Cause like for anything you synth normally, all aggression ends up being is like, oh, that egg failed. Like if you're cohabiting an animal, you say, "Oh, I don't want the aggressive one. I can't hash this because it messes up my exhibit." Or and if you're cohabiting, or if you're doing a carnivore exhibit, then you just don't care, right? Like this is kind of a problem with these like negative traits is they're very binary. They either don't matter or they just basically say, okay, we can't hash this animal. We're not using this. Um, I think the negative traits could use uh, a little more juice, a little something extra to the mechanic to make them actually feel like a negative trait uh, more strongly. New sandbox preset chaos. What? Wait. You're speaking my language? What does this mean? Okay, they tell us nothing about what that means. All right, very cool. I'm intrigued by this. It's maybe it's just randomizing stuff. Yeah, that's what it looks like here, right? Under the details. Let's watch this back. Yeah. So it doesn't change the other presets here. It's only changing these details. So it looks to me like chaos is just randomizing the sandbox settings. So it's in this case it turned off scientist power, but it boosted dinosaur needs and made temperament aggressive. If this is truly just randomizing every individual setting, this is probably worthless. Because like, why would you ever want to just play a park with like some mechanics enabled and some disabled essentially at random? It is interesting though, but it is chaos. I don't know if this is actually going to be as interesting as it initially seemed like it might be. Um, so before we move on to the end of the video, I heard there was another thing here. So this is weird to me, right? Let's go back to the sandbox settings. So they said, hey, one new sandbox setting. You can turn off aggression. That's it. Uh, it would have been nice if there would have been more. So currently this is looking a little threadbare. This free update. A little sandbox tweak, one new map that should have been in at launch. But apparently there is stuff in here that is not talked about. So let's see if we can find it. Um, so dinosaur escapes intelligent, aggressive vehicle aggression. Yeah, it's right below the thing now. Here, territory expansion. This is a new sandbox setting. So there is more added than just this aggression trait. So for some reason they didn't call this out. So territory expansion is currently set to normal. This is an interesting one, right? Territory system has always been a little half-baked. Conceptually, the territory system is very cool. It was a very exciting addition to JWE2. And then in practice, it's been either nothing or it's been a huge annoyance because of animals not maintaining a territory, fragmenting, and then becoming angry. It started as essentially nothing in JW2 at launch, and then they adjusted it later to try to make it matter more, and they just made it annoying. In JW3 currently, it kind of just exists. This will definitely be interesting though if we ever do maybe a very large like safari style park. This might be the kind of thing that enables that. That's what I'm imagining the purpose of this is essentially going to be a toggle between small exhibits and large exhibits for some sort of improved territory expansion. Without seeing the other settings though, we can't really be sure. I suppose there's also like the possibility for it to turn off expansion like post release. Like like once the animals are comfortable after they've been released, they will maintain that territory even if they move further or something. But that seems a little more like a little more than they'll probably do with this. A little too much. Because how would that work, right? When a dinosaur starts starving and it's like territory is halfway across the map. I suspect this will just be something about like the rate at which they expand, or actually be like a toggle for the rate at which the territory decays, just called expansion for whatever reason. I don't know. All right, free update coming 11th of August. So that's a few days. And then we have the post video, update reveal teaser for the actual DLC that's coming. Yes, this will be a DLC update because it's update 1.4. And there it is. You see it there in the back? Let's watch that shit again. So, we have a boat. We have a... it's a swamp again. Ultimately, wait, hold on. So the first species pack we had was a wetlands DLC. And the second DLC we're getting so far is a wetlands DLC. We're getting wetlands DLC 2 before anything. Why does this game love wetlands so much? So this is water. I provide valuable commentary. Probably deep water. This is probably a decorative boat or something. Which do we have? Is this in game already, or is this a new decoration? I have no idea. And you can see there near the back, some guy crawling out of the water. You can see that it does have a ridged back. I mean, it's very clearly a crocodile. Um, So crocodiles were near the top of my list for new additions to the game in DLC. I was shocked there wasn't one in base game, but it kind of makes sense to monetize it separately from a business standpoint. But with the addition of deep water, it makes a lot of sense to expand on that mechanic by having something other than Spinosaurids and a handful of other animals that can use it. Um, at launch, it was only Spinosaurids and Pyroraptor and Dimetrodon, right? So I mean, there's like a decent range of animals that can use it, but it's still a very limited roster. It's like what, 6 animals or something at this point, maybe a little bit more, maybe 7, 8, maybe, I don't know, with like the addition of the T-Rex swimming and stuff. And so like Crocs made a lot of sense for how to capitalize on that, right? Because they're an animal that would spend a lot of time in the deep water, but you would still want them to be able to crawl up on the land. And so introducing Crocs after deep water as a mechanic was introduced made a lot of sense, because then they wouldn't have to be in the lagoon with the awkward Archelon rock system. And it would pave the way for animals that are primarily aquatic but partially terrestrial to come back, like Nothosaurus and Archelon. So it's finally happening. It just took a little longer than I thought. I thought Croc DLC would be kind of like right away. Uh, yeah, so it's probably like a Dinosuchus or Sarcosuchus or something. It's like it looks like a very crocky croc. This doesn't look like some like crazy, weird pug-like or terrestrial predatory Triassic croc. It just looks like a croc, which probably means it's like Dinosuchus, which is the semi-canonical one, or Sarcosuchus. So I think it's Dinosuchus. I think Dinosuchus is gonna make it in. Frontier has been pretty good about giving us semi-canon animals. Um, for DLCs, things that do have a franchise connection and kind of make sense to put in. So I think Dinosuchus is what we're looking at here. And Dinosuchus is semi-canon because there was a skull of it in a deleted scene from Fallen Kingdom. So in Fallen Kingdom, there's a lot of animal carcasses, right? This is how Teratophonius and Peloroplides are made semi-canon, because their carcasses show up in the film. Peloroplides gets a direct shot. You can see the skeleton in all its glory when they're like driving the trucks across the field or whatever. Teratophonius was mostly cut, but you can see it outside the bunker. I believe when they're escaping from the lava, you could barely see it. You could basically see its like little two clawed hand stretching up into the sky in defiance of the gods. But we know what the carcasses were intended to be because of the production company sharing behind the scenes info of the creation of the carcasses. They're based on like some sort of like paleontological like high-end model kit, essentially. Some sort of like, do you need a dinosaur carcass for a project, like a museum or a movie? Here, come get our Pleuroplides carcass or something weird like that. Like there's some sort of like standardized carcass, which is very weird. And so there's a single like production photo of Owen Grady like trekking down a stream bed, and there's like a big Dinosuchus skull sitting there. Um, and so that's what puts that into semi-canon category, is like it was going to be a carcass. It was going to be kind of in the same nebulous spot as Teratophonius and Pleuropleides of like, is it really intended to be this animal? Was it actually alive on the island, or is this carcass just kind of a random set dressing thing they threw in there? I consider Teratophonius and Pleuropleides to be canon. I consider Dinosuchus to be soft canon because it didn't actually make it into the cut. That's my point. So yeah, but we've gotten like all the DNA vial species in JWE2 from the first film: Stegosaurus, Proceratosaurus, Herrera, Metri, and the brochure map. Herrera is actually a brochure map. It does have a DNA vial prop, but it's not the film. But these like deep cut species that are probably canon, Frontier's been pretty good about giving to us. Now the question's going to be: is this going to be a Croc DLC, or is this going to be like a Lagoon Deep Water DLC that has a single Croc in it? And that's we don't know. I think the diversity of Crocs can easily support a dedicated DLC, um, but it remains to be seen whether or not that's what they're doing here. Um, I should also say I am a notorious mammal hater and kind of lagoon hater in this game. I'm very dinosaur centric in my interests in this game and in PK, right? Um, uh, but I am excited about Crocs. I think what the better category that interests me for animals in these games is archosaurs. So crocs, birds, and dinosaurs and pterosaurs, right? Because I do like the pterosaurs. I wish they worked better in the game, but I do like having them. So I am very interested to see these cracks. I am actually uh cautiously optimistic, I guess, for this DLC tease. Anyway, there's not much else to talk about here. I mean, that's kind of everything we've got, right? I don't know how I'm gonna get a nice, good teaser thumbnail for this. But I have to put one of those stupid red circles and like the guy pointing, like, "Oh my god." I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that's it for this video.